I want to be real with you for a moment. I've spent years chasing validation, battling anxiety, feeling like I had to constantly prove something to people who didn't even matter. But the truth is, everything changed when I discovered Stoicism. Not as a quote on a wall, not as some intellectual idea, but as a way of living. A quiet strength that teaches you to lead, not react. To stand tall in chaos. These Stoic principles saved me from myself, and I know they can do the same for you. So if you're tired of feeling like you're being pulled in every direction, if you're craving something deeper, something real, this video is for you. I've kept this channel grounded in one goal, to bring you timeless wisdom that actually works. And before we begin, let me ask you for one simple thing. If any part of this hits home, just do me a small favor and hit that subscribe button. It's completely free, but it helps the channel grow and reach more people who might need this as much as I once did. Alright, take a breath with me. Let's begin. Just you and me. One lesson at a time. Secret number 1. Stop trying to impress anyone. I used to be the person who always tried a little too hard, always eager to please, constantly looking for ways to prove I was worth someone's time, attention, love, anything that made me feel like I belonged in their world, and I thought that if I gave more, if I showed how much I cared, if I went out of my way to impress them, they'd see the effort and meet me halfway, but all it ever did was push them further away. And it took me years to understand that the more you chase people, the faster they run, because trying too hard tells someone that you place them above yourself, that you're desperate for their approval, and the truth is, people don't respect what's too easy, what's too available, what seems like it's trying to win them over at any cost. So one day, after getting disappointed one too many times, I just stopped, not out of anger, not to play games, but because I was finally tired of proving myself to people who never deserved me in the first place. And in that silence I found power, I found clarity. I realized that when you stop trying to be impressive, you become intriguing. When you stop overextending, you become respected. And when you stop showing up where you're not met with the same energy, you create space for people who value you for who you are, not for how much effort you put in. So now I never try to force conversations. I never double text. I never bend backwards to be liked. I walk into every connection as my full self, and if they don't feel it, that's okay, because I'd rather be respected for being real than loved for being a version of myself that exists just to please them. And what's wild is, the moment I pulled back, the moment I stopped pushing, people started coming closer. They felt the absence, they sensed the shift, they began to chase what once felt too easy. And that's the secret. You gain attention not by giving more, but by needing less. You become magnetic not by being loud, but by being whole. And I learned that the more I trust my worth, the less I need to convince anyone of it. So if you're always the one trying, always the one fixing, always the one giving more, maybe it's time to pause, to step back, and to let them show you who really deserves you. Because when you stop trying too hard to impress anyone, you finally begin to attract the ones who are meant to stay. Secret number 2. Stop giving free access to your energy. I had to learn this the hard way. There was a time when I would hand out my attention like free samples at a store. Anyone who needed me, anyone who wanted to vent, complain, gossip, or just unload their chaos onto me, I was available. I convinced myself it was kindness. That being there for everyone meant I was a good person. But what I didn't realize was that I was draining myself for people who would never do the same in return. I would go to sleep feeling mentally exhausted, not because of my own life, but because I had absorbed the noise and weight of everyone else's. And slowly, I started to lose touch with myself. So I made a choice. I stopped giving unlimited access to people who didn't value my time or energy. I became selective, not cruel. I realized that just because someone wants your attention doesn't mean they deserve it. I started noticing who left me feeling empty after conversations and who actually nourished my spirit. I stopped answering every text the second it came in. I stopped being the emotional dumping ground for people who never asked how I was doing. And let me tell you something, it changed everything. Suddenly I had clarity. I had peace. I had energy to focus on my goals, on my growth, on my own healing. People who once depended on my endless availability started calling me distant. But that's because they had grown used to the version of me that didn't respect my own boundaries. This secret is about realizing that your energy is a currency. Spend it wisely. You don't owe constant access to anyone. Not your coworkers. Not your friends. Not even your family. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is sacred. And when you stop leaking energy into people who don't pour anything back into you, you'll finally have enough to build the life you deserve. That's the truth I had to face. I am no longer for everyone. I am for me first. And that's not arrogance. That's survival. Secret number 3. You don't need everyone to like you. For the longest time, I chased approval like it was oxygen. I used to shape-shift, adjust my tone, my opinions, even my presence, just to be liked. I'd smile when I was uncomfortable, nod when I disagreed, say yes when I was screaming no inside. All because I believed that being liked meant being safe, being accepted, being enough. But the truth hit me one day, hard and sharp. I was sacrificing who I was just to be tolerated by people who didn't even value the real me. And that's when everything changed. I realized that every time I tried to please everyone, I was abandoning myself. And no matter how hard I tried, someone always had a problem with me. So I asked myself, what's the point of being liked by people who don't even know the real me? That's when I stopped performing. I started speaking up, even when my voice shook. I let people be uncomfortable with my truth. I let go of the need to explain myself every time I made a choice that didn't fit someone else's expectations. And yes, people drifted away. Some got uncomfortable. Some called me selfish or difficult. But the ones who stayed, they respected me more. They saw me fully and loved me anyway. That's the beauty of releasing the need to be liked. You begin to attract people who resonate with your truth instead of the mask you wore. And you finally find peace, not because everyone approves of you, but because you approve of yourself. I'm telling you this not as a distant lesson, but as someone who lived through the mess of people-pleasing and came out on the other side, tired but free. You don't need to be liked by everyone. You just need to be loved by a few who matter. And most importantly, you need to love yourself without needing the world's permission. Once I let go of that need, I became unstoppable. You will too. Secret number 4. Your silence is louder than their noise. There was a time when I thought silence made me weak. I believed if someone disrespected me, I had to clap back. If they misunderstood me, I had to explain. If they gossiped, I had to defend. But what I didn't realize was that reacting gave them power. It pulled me into their chaos, into their storm, and made me carry energy that never belonged to me. Then one day, I stopped. Someone insulted me, and I said nothing. I didn't flinch. I didn't defend. I just let them sit in the echo of their own words. And in that silence, something powerful happened. They lost control. That's when I learned that silence isn't weakness. Silence is strategy. It's strength. It's the choice to rise above what doesn't deserve your breath. Your silence says, I'm not here to dance in your drama. I'm here to protect my peace. It forces people to face themselves without the distraction of your reaction. It tells them, I don't need to prove anything. I don't owe you a show. I've used this countless times. In toxic conversations, I just let the words pass like wind. When someone tried to bait me, I stared back without a word. It shook them. Not because I was aggressive, but because I was grounded. Calm is contagious, and silence is a boundary in motion. It teaches people how to treat you without you ever raising your voice. In a world where everyone's screaming to be heard, the one who controls their voice controls the room. You don't always need to speak to be powerful. Sometimes, your lack of response is the most powerful statement of all. I learned that the hard way. But once I did, I realized that silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care too much about yourself to waste your energy on noise. And when you master that, you become untouchable. You walk lighter, breathe deeper, and people start realizing that your presence isn't to be taken for granted. Secret number 5. Stay quiet about your moves. There is a certain kind of power in silence that most people overlook. I have learned this the hard way, by talking too much, too early, and too often. When you speak about your plans before they are ready to be seen, you invite opinions, judgments, and even subtle sabotage. I have noticed that when I kept things to myself, when I worked in silence and let my actions speak later, people began to respect me more. Not just because of what I achieved, but because they had no room to interfere, no space to criticize, and no time to doubt me. Staying quiet about your moves creates a sense of mystery. It makes others curious. It shifts the energy in your favor. There is something undeniably attractive about someone who doesn't overshare, who walks with quiet confidence, who is doing things behind the scenes and simply shows up later with results. It tells people that you are not doing things for attention. You are doing it because it matters to you. When you are constantly updating everyone about your next move, you unknowingly give away your power. You give people the ability to question you, to inject fear or doubt into your mind, or worse, to start competing with you before you have even built anything. I have had moments where I got excited and shared something I was working on, only to feel my motivation drop as soon as someone questioned me or made a comment that made me second-guess myself. It took me a long time to realize that not everything needs to be spoken out loud. Silence is not secrecy. Silence is strategy. If you are working on yourself, keep going quietly. If you are planning something big, do it behind closed doors. The world does not need to know your process. Let them see the results. That is how you build power. That is how you earn quiet respect. I am telling you this not just because it sounds wise, but because I have lived it. Every major shift in my life happened when I kept my head down and said nothing. Talk less, do more. You will feel stronger. You will move faster. You will stop chasing validation and start chasing mastery. So the next time you feel the urge to announce your next step, pause. Ask yourself, is this for progress or is this for attention? Let your silence become your armor. Let your results speak so loudly that no one even remembers you said a word. Secret number 6. Master the art of walking away. There's a turning point in every man's life when he realizes that his peace is more valuable than any argument, any attention, or any forced connection. I remember the first time I walked away from something that wasn't serving me. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, clean, and absolute. I didn't explain myself. I didn't beg to be understood. I simply left. And in that moment, I felt more powerful than I ever did trying to win someone's approval. Walking away is not weakness. It is strength, the kind that comes from knowing your worth and refusing to waste it on people or situations that don't see it. I used to think staying and fighting was noble. I thought enduring meant I was strong. But the truth is, I was just afraid. Afraid to let go. Afraid of what people might think. Afraid of being alone. But with every situation I chose to walk away from, I started building something far more important than their approval. I built self-respect. You have to know when a situation is no longer worth your energy. You have to be honest enough with yourself to recognize when you're chasing something that's already trying to leave. Not every door needs to be held open. Not every person deserves a second chance. And not every fight is yours to win. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is turn around and leave, not with bitterness, not with anger, but with peace. With the quiet strength of a man who knows he has nothing to prove. You don't need to argue. You don't need to convince them to see your value. If they can't see it, let them live with that blindness. That's not your burden to carry. The more you master the art of walking away, the more you stop accepting crumbs. You stop tolerating disrespect. You stop watering dead plants. You stop proving yourself to people who never mattered. And in that space, you begin to find yourself again. The world respects a man who doesn't beg to be seen. It respects a man who can leave without looking back. And trust me, the moment you stop chasing what's not meant for you, the things that are meant for you start showing up in ways you never imagined. So if you're stuck in something that drains your soul, take this as your sign. Stand up. Walk out. Reclaim your energy. Because the man who knows when to walk away is the man who holds all the power. Secret number 7. Keep your world private and mysterious. I used to think that being open, telling everyone everything, was a form of honesty, of trust, of connection. But over time I learned something that changed the way I moved through life. The more people know about you, the more control they believe they have over you. The moment you start sharing every detail of your plans, your struggles, your wins, your losses, you start giving away your power piece by piece. Not everyone who listens supports you. Not everyone who smiles wants to see you win. Some are watching just to wait for you to fall. That's why I began pulling my energy back. I stopped oversharing. I stopped posting every step. I stopped letting the world into places that were meant to be sacred. And something incredible happened. I felt stronger. I felt more focused. I felt untouchable. There's a silent power in keeping your world private. When people can't read you, they can't manipulate you. When they don't know your next move, they can't block it. When they don't understand the depths of your thoughts, they can't twist them. Privacy is not secrecy. It's protection. It's peace. And more than anything, it's a declaration that your life doesn't need to be constantly on display to be valuable. I remember a time when I told a friend about a new idea I had, something that fired me up, something I believed in. Their face didn't light up. Their energy shifted. And before I knew it, I was doubting the very thing that once gave me purpose. That was the moment I realized, not everyone deserves a front row seat to your process. Sometimes, your silence is your shield. Your mystery is your defense. Your privacy is your power. The strongest men I've met are the ones who don't speak until it's time. They move in silence. They let results speak. They build in shadows. And by the time the world notices, it's already done. That's the energy I've started living with. I don't explain. I don't announce. I just move. I create. I evolve. And I protect what's mine. So if you want peace, focus, and real control over your life, start pulling back. Don't let them read you like an open book. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them talk. Because at the end of the day, your power lies in what they don't know. If this hit something deep inside you, do me a small favor and hit that subscribe button. It helps this message reach more people who need it. Drop a comment if you've been on this path too. And remember, no matter what the world throws at you, stay stoic and build your stoic legacy.